but it's good. It is good. I don't want to dive. I'm gonna dive right in. I want to dive right into this.
However you wanna do this, man. It's cool, bro. Let's just like
I was uh,
whatever.
I was really thankful that you sent me over that link, and I got to listen to it.
Yeah,
It's quality, man. It's
thank you, bro.
quality. It's nice that there's still like a real signature sound
Yeah, yeah,
to
yeah.
you and what you do, and it's not just your vocal tone and your flow and your lyrics. And
Mm,
like when I think of rappers and when I think about what I like about hip hop and stuff, like, and how I identify a rapper and what they do, like it's normally those things: the flow, the tone of the voice,
hmm.
and then the production can always vary. It could always go in completely
Yeah,
different places. But I feel like your production choices and that all have a similar vein, all have a reasonably similar feel. Don't get me wrong, there are tracks there that kind of go off in different directions, but generally the body of both of your two previous projects and
yeah,
the sound of this new track, again, has that soulful hip hop element, which is
yeah.
always kind of good to my ears. And then I can hear that guitar. And I was like, is that my boy? Is that my boy on guitar? And it is
Yeah,
my
man.
boy on guitar.
It is your
Pick up
boy, yeah.
Adrian.
Shout
Um,
outs to Adrian Remedy,
yeah,
man. Like, yeah,
and you've got some live bass in there and the live keys in there. Really nice
yeah,
piano breakdown at the end. I really
yeah.
like the way the way you kind of pushed it all the way down. I was wondering, I was like, wow, there's quite a lot of this track still left to go, and he's done a couple verses, and like, what else is gonna go on? And I really liked that
Yeah,
stripped
nice little
away moment
surprise.
in it. And yeah, it was really nice, and I love the way you've kind of built in the live musicianship into the kind of the hip hop beat, which I feel that's what you're a lot about, of what you are
Yeah, man.
about
Like,
a lot of anyway, you know?
yeah, like it's all of those things are great to hear, man. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, this track is I don't know, it's a bit of a labor of love. You know what I mean? Because like I started to put it together just as kind of like an idea, and I sent things over to Adrian Remedy. Shout outs to Adrian, um, for the guitar part initially, and he sent me back a load of different ideas, of of which I kind of sat through and whittled it down to the parts that I thought kind of fit. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Um, Same with the bass and the same with the keys. And it's funny as well that you talk about the keys breakdown at the end, because like I had written what I thought was the entirety of the track, like completely, like, and I was like, okay, cool. I just want you to play out on the end of this track. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And he sent me back, you know, like what's on record, but like, numerous parts basically. And like, again, I had to like kind of like arrange it and put it together in the way in which I felt. But it really pushed me in a direction where I was like, I need to do another verse. It kind of drew something out of me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If that makes sense. And so it's funny to like, the trajectory of where the track would have been for me. And it's funny as well because of the length of the track. It means that now there's like two versions really. There's the radio edit, which doesn't have that end breakdown
Mm.
as it currently stands, and then there's the full length of the track, which has the piano breakdown at the end, which I think is where the real meat of the song is in terms of like what the song is about. You know what I mean? Really. So yeah, man, I'm very thankful to all of the guys. So that's Benjamin Morale, who's on the bass, Adrian Remedy, who's on the guitar, and Adi Keys, who's on the keys at the end. Um, it is a self-produced like effort underneath a veiled moniker. You know what I mean? People won't know that, like, well, they
Well, you're
probably
telling
have
them
worked it
now.
out. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
but yeah, like, it's important for me to get chops as a producer as well, man. You know what I mean? I think it's something that I kind of struggled with for a long time in terms of like I've always been involved in the production of my records. Anything that I've kind of jumped on, I've always had like a creative input, but I've always come to it with an idea kind of fully fledged. and taking it over the line, if that makes sense, right? Like, you know what I mean? So as much as I'm not the producers of the previous records in their entirety, like I lended my expertise or my idea process to the end result, if that makes sense, in terms of what we was creating together. So shout out to the other producers that I've worked with over the course of the many years. But I really wanted to at least start off this kind of project that I'm working on the basis that I am a producer in my own kind of right as well. You know what I mean? And have something that is reflective of that from a creative perspective. So like to that end, like this record is a bit of a point to prove for me. You know what I mean? Like it's, as much as I'm convincing the world, it's me convincing myself that I have the ability to do more than I kind of give myself credit for sometimes. You know what I mean? And yeah, just taking that step, like not being fearful of that. You know what I mean, so to speak.
Well, let's talk on that. Like, what is it that on this project is giving you the confidence or the faith to kind of
Confidence is a
step
strong word.
out? Well, no, but hold
I'm not
on.
sure if
Look, you're talking about, so what we're talking, yeah, because like my son was born when the last project came out, so we're talking 4 years, yeah.
Yeah.
And this is the first track that you've dropped in that time, and you are choosing to use a track that you produced, and you could there's countless other producers that you could have gone to, and we see it in mainstream as well. Like, you'll go to a big name producer to produce your first single, your first track from your new project, to really kind of make sure that seal of approval's there, and you're getting a certain level of quality. But here you are, you're putting your own beats out there as your lead, as your start. And so
for me
there's a
it
level
was.
of confidence there,
No,
and
I get that, you know
like,
what I mean? But at the same time, like, I don't know, man. I'm always one of those artists that kind of like struggles a bit with imposter syndrome, you know what I mean, so to speak. So as much as like I walk into spaces and I do creative things that put me in a remit of great artists, you know what I mean, like at the same time there's always that sense of like apprehension about like whether I'm really that level or not, you know what I mean,
yeah,
kind of thing. And like getting over that sometimes just means forcing yourself, and for me, some of me doing this record in the way in which I've done it, like, is that, you know what I mean, it's like forcing myself to say no, like I'm not gonna lean on the producers, you get me, like, and say, look, I want to get this production. I there's a sense of independence that I wanted to have with this record. It's the subject matter is something that only I could really say, you know what I mean, like on a
yeah,
record, and I wanted that to go beyond the lyrics, you know what I mean. I wanted that to be felt in the record, how it felt, the direction that we went musically. Like I wanted that to be reflective. So as much as like I like worked with the musicians on this record and got everybody involved, like the creative direction was definitely my steer, like, and it was important for me to do that from start to finish, just to prove to myself that I could, you know what I mean.
yeah,
I could do it, and I think what that will do for me going forward is give me that confidence, you know what I mean. So perhaps when making this record I wasn't that confident. Maybe it was just me like being stubborn to a certain extent,
yeah.
but like now, having created the record from start to finish and gotten the feedback that man's gotten off of the back of it, now I'm like, okay, cool. Now actually I can really do this. You know what I mean? And I wanted my production, which is why it's underneath a veiled moniker anyway. I wanted the production to kind of stand away from me being the rapper as well. So it's like different trajectories. You know what I mean? I want the freedom to be able to do other things that isn't so like the soulful hip hop thing all the time. As much as that's the quintessential sound that I've given you on this record, like that's not all I can do. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's just about giving myself the freedom of being able to move on and do other things. You know what I mean? Away from the rapping, like, you know what I mean, which is what people kind of know me for. But I do so much more, man. I do a lot of things. You know what I mean? As you
So,
well know.
yeah, but tell the people, like, like, again, I've always spoken about the quality in your in your whole package that you always
Yeah.
put together, all of your visuals, all of your artwork, everything is in line, on brand, and you always make the effort to
Yeah.
kind of put that all in place. And I get the feeling that that's not you spending money on a big art designer or someone to come in and kind of control that. Feels like it's coming
No,
from
like
you, you
the
know?
art direction that we've gone with, obviously, like I've always worked with people where the case is necessary. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But a lot of the art direction and the places that we go from a visual perspective is down to me, man. Like, like I've done a lot of the graphic design on this record. I've done all of the the design that's associated with that. I'm a web developer by trade, so that's what I do on a freelance level. Obviously, we, like myself and Jada Exodus, we own a record label which is Less Is More Music. In the past, we've been involved in doing loads of events, the More Music Less Noise events, which has transitioned now into being an online platform, digital platform for people out of a soulful hip hop, R&B, and any kind of like soul oriented music, you know, scene. Anybody that kind of equates to that scene. That's what that platform is for. More music, less noise. You know what I mean? Definitely giving ourselves a little bit of a voice in the same way that some of these other outlets are out there. You know what I mean? So yeah, like I do a lot of things. Like it's beyond just the lyrics that you hear on the record whenever I
Mm,
decide to make you know a record, so to speak. And that's always going to be like my first love. You know what I mean? That's how I got involved in music in the first instance. Like singing and making songs and rapping. You know what I mean? So it's not bad. It's not a bad thing that people know me kind of specifically for that kind of thing. But at the same time, I wear many hats, and I wanted to show that. You know what I mean? Even if it's like not associated with the name AKS, like
yeah. And how did it kind of getting back to the production a little bit? Just how did it kind of feel just being in that different art form, so to speak, of being the beat maker? Is it was it harder? Was it
do you know what?
easier?
It's not
Did
even.
it come naturally compared to kind of writing the lyrics and all of that?
Yeah, I just felt it just came together naturally, man. Literally, it just came together naturally. Like what people don't know of me is that I kind of started in in that remit anyway. Like I used to like make beats in days of old, like with on Fruity Loops, you know what I mean, and
Mm-hmm.
and and do that and rap over it. So all of the initial things that people kind of heard from me, you know what I mean, were based on that. So when I was in university, like, as an example, I was doing that heavily, like just making the beats in my bedroom, like on Fruity Loops, and running with it, going down to like variety performances and doing all of that kind of stuff. So that's how I got my first like steps into the game, and it just so happened that I started to move around some of the bigger name producers, you know what I mean, the self-taught beats, the Nutty P's, who at that time were with some of like kind of the premier rappers in the scene, you know what I mean?
Mm,
And if you're in that position and you're a young kid, like 20, like 18 to 20, like, and you've got the ability to holler at a self-taught beats, or you got ability to holler at a 90p and say, oh, I need a beat for something, like you're gonna make
yeah,
use of that, you know what I mean,
yeah.
so to speak. So yeah, and obviously those guys are super talented individuals, and they've kind of lent their talents towards what it was that they saw in me as an artist, because I came in the scene fresh faced, not having done anything, and you know something about what it is that I did meant that they wanted to be involved. You know what I mean? Which is
Mm,
like, it's a testament to who they are as people. You know what I mean? To kind of give this young boy a chance. You know what I mean? But then also a testament to who it is I am as an artist. Like, obviously they wouldn't have lent their talents to somebody that didn't have the ability to kind of shine on them, if that makes sense, right? So yeah,
100%.
I'm very thankful for those door openings that they've given me. You know what I mean? And the ability to work with them up until even now. You know what I mean? So
No, it's nice to hear you recognize that testament to yourself as well. As much as it is to kind of give praise to them for seeing the good in you, it's good that you can see that they saw what you were bringing to the table, and you can recognize
don't
that
know.
because you got mad skills, man. Mad
Thank you, bro.
skills, mad skills. How does it how does it feel like dropping something after such a long break away, so to speak?
Uh, there's a nerve-wrackingness to it. You know what I mean? Like to putting out new material, and it's like peaks and troughs, man. Like you go through times when I go through times when I think, yeah, this is the best thing that I've ever done. Like, and then there's times that I'm thinking, well, maybe it's not gonna hit. Like, you know what I mean? Kind of, maybe
Yeah.
people are not gonna get it. Like, kind of thing. So, um, yeah, having that such a long period of time away, like I wouldn't. It's not something that's recommendable in it for people. We always talk about um being consistent. You know what I mean? And I'm an artist that hasn't actively been consistent across the board. I would say, like when I talk about consistency, I don't mean giving great bodies of work like time and time again. I just mean being active in the scene musically, you know what I mean, from month to month, year to year, you know what I mean? I haven't
Mm,
been that guy. So it always does feel a bit like an uphill struggle, kind of getting back to a place where people want to take notice, if that makes sense, right? Or
yeah.
getting back into the forefronts of people's minds. But what I have found in the past, and I'm hopeful that that's going to be the case this time around as well, is that when you deliver something that's like of value in terms of like what you're talking about, that people kind of like gravitate towards it, you know what I mean? So yeah, like, you know, when I dropped the Bus Stop EP, that was after a 4-year hiatus. So when I dropped the Train of Thought, that was after a 4-year hiatus, and I'm dropping this record having just taken the, like, let's say 4 years off. You know what I
Mm,
mean? So
yeah.
it's yeah, I definitely, obviously, to artists that are out there that are trying to do their thing, this is not something that I would say that you should actively do if you're trying to like make yourself prominent in the scene. However, like I'm always going to be of the ilk that you have to go away and kind of live your life so that you have something to even talk about. You know, like my music is reflective of my day-to-day life, my hopes, my dreams, my aspirations. So I'm always going to be that kind of a rapper and have to go away and live my life, get some inspiration, and then come and put it into a record format. So if that's who you are, like, you know, and I guess that's what means that your music kind of stands the test of time. It isn't so much of a like throwaway value, if that makes sense. Then, you know, you're just gonna have to be apologetic about that.
No, I think you've got to do you. I think you have to. I think you have to play the game on your terms. I don't think there's any straight rule book as to say if you do X, Y, and Z, then you're gonna get to A.
Hmm.
Like I think you have to be true to yourself, and whatever you're doing, you've got to do it out of a love and a passion, and you have to fulfill your own needs from what you're doing first and foremost before you're
100.
trying to pander to anyone else's needs or get that back from other people, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And again, it's really nice to hear you just being comfortable in your own skin and kind of you know what you're doing and why you're doing it. And yeah, it feels refreshing, to be honest with
Thank you,
you.
man.
Like
That's appreciated.
and I feel like as artists, that's the kind of place that you want to be in. You know, you want to be in a place where you can just make the music on your own terms, put it out on your own terms, and if people are feeling it, they're feeling it. If they're not, they're not. If you're not doing it the way that everyone else does, so be it. This is how I put my art together. And again, it's probably a good testament as to why, you know, both the Bus Stop and Train of Thought are two fantastic bodies of work. And I've
Thank
no
you,
doubt whatever you've got cooking up is going to be another strong body of work. And yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to hearing it all and hearing it all come together, you know?
Foundations they couldn't cover up, so heavens above. Some man they give up everything and find it's never enough. We always fake it till we make it, that's a genuine bluff.